I launched it and we were sold out in under 2 hours. And I was like, that was my first taste of how powerful the community was that I'd built, right? By that time, up until that time, I was just a content creator. I was just making like these, what I eat in a day and where I go and what I do kind of videos. And suddenly I was like, oh wow, I mean, this community is extremely powerful.
Well, welcome to the Indian Millennials podcast. This is a brand new episode. And guess what? This is the first episode on YouTube. Let me tell you something about the Indian Millennials podcast first. The entire podcast aims to bring in conversations and perspectives from people who are living a life as authentic as it can get. In today's world, where you're trying to play different characters on social media and different platforms, let's try to get some raw truth from different people who are entrepreneurs, who are achievers, and who are doing some great things. And best part, most of them happen to be millennials who are all of our age group, so that we can all learn from each other and grow together in this ever-changing dynamic world. So welcome to this Indian Millennials podcast. And today's episode, I have with me Saloni Srivastava. Just go to her YouTube channel. I'm not going to say anything about her. Just go to her YouTube channel, subscribe to her, and go to our Instagram handle, subscribe to it. Okay. You will find out a lot of information about everything that you need in today's world. It could be about side hustles. It could even be about living a very minimalistic life as well, because many people want to do that, but they have no idea how to do it. To learn more about this, just listen to me, do what I say, just follow her, and let's just bring her and we'll have a big conversation with her. All right. So stay tuned for more. So, Saloni, what's up? How's it going? I mean, it's been a while since I've seen you apart from YouTube. Been seeing a lot of you on YouTube and Instagram. So, are you a creator entrepreneur or an entrepreneur creator? What do I call you?
That's a very interesting question. So here's what my Instagram bio says. I say that I'm an entrepreneur by profession, but I'm a creator at heart. I love content creation, and I think that content creation, everything that I've learned in that journey, has made me the entrepreneur that I am today. So I'm always going to be a creator at heart.
I'm seeing this trend, especially with younger entrepreneurs, that they're creating a nice community for themselves by creating content that is about their life in general, nothing to do with any niche, or they're not carving out a niche for themselves and saying, no, I will only talk about crypto, no, I'll only talk about whatever, right? They're creating a very lifestyle based vlog based content creation and game, and then they're tapping into that community and creating a brand out of it and selling. It could be lifestyle products, it could be digital products and everything. How do you see this trend? Because I feel that you're one of the early adapters for this whole trend. So how has it worked out for you?
Right. I mean, I truly believe that this trend is extremely powerful. And I'm so glad that it is a trend, because back when I started doing this, I mean, I started out as a creator, right? Mm-hmm. I used to just make 2 YouTube videos a week. That was it. That was my goal. And I thought, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, because I loved creating YouTube videos. So, my intention with my YouTube channel was that, I'm a multi-passionate person. I see myself as somebody who doesn't, like, if you ask me to do just one thing, I will get bored doing it within a couple of months. I need to have variety in life. So my YouTube channel was also sort of supposed to be a space that gave me an opportunity to explore that variety. So I spoke about my life. I spoke about finances that I am personally very passionate about. I spoke about productivity, motivation. I spoke about the books I was reading. I spoke about the problems I was facing, my family, food. I mean, anything under the sun. Whatever I was passionate about, I would always create a YouTube video on it. And slowly, what started happening was I started attracting people who were exactly that, right? Like people, multi-passionate women living in tier 1 cities in India who were exactly around my age. They started seeing a lot of them in me. They saw that, oh, I relate to this person. She's exactly like me. And up until that time, influencers were very polished on social media. There was this amazing, like a picture perfect, remember Instagram in 2015, how every photo used to be perfectly framed and all of that. That was the trend back then. My goal was to sort of break that, because I would see that and I would never relate to it. I'm like, my breakfast plate never looks like that. It's the most messy thing ever. How can I showcase a personality that's relatable to people? So I started doing that. And with that, the community that I was able to build was so authentic that today, right? For example, I moved to in my Indranagar house recently. A lot of the comments, like 90% of the comments that I got on that video were, "Oh my God, I've been following you since you used to live in that small 1 BHK in Whitefield. I'm so happy to see that you moved to this place." So they're a part of my journey. They've literally seen me go from being a creator to starting a company to trying all of these side hustles. So because they've been a part of this journey, they value me, they trust me, they believe in the journey that I've taken. So when I tell them that, hey, I'm going to help you take a similar journey, they believe me over most ads that they would see on social media. So that truly becomes the most powerful distribution channel for any creator to explore. So yeah, I'm so glad that other creators are now starting to explore this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm noticing this trend that, okay, and it's kind of becoming easier, right? I mean, considering the ad costs of running a campaign on different social media platforms or even a search engine platform is actually very expensive today.
Extremely expensive.
And it's highly competitive.
I mean, it's not as powerful anymore because of the iOS updates and a lot of other things that have happened. I mean, you don't see the similar, like, standard return on ad spend that you used to get, like, maybe even 2 years back.
And even influencer marketing. I mean, people who have like 10,000, 15,000, that's also not powerful anymore. It's basically, you resonate with a brand that has a voice and has a face behind it.
Yes.
Yeah. It could be anything. If you want to sell something, you need to have a face for it, right? That's how it's become. And now you venture into EdTech, right? I mean, you could have ventured into everything because you did lifestyle blogging. I saw a video where you spoke about food.
Right.
You could have done something in that. You could have done so many different things. Right. Why did you choose EdTech?
So actually, EdTech wasn't my first thing that I did. Okay. So this was about 4 years back. This was maybe 1.5 years into my YouTube content creation journey. A lot of people would reach out to me, and my planning videos used to be a thing on YouTube. That, oh, Saloni creates all of these planning videos where she plans out her month in advance, and people used to take inspiration from that. So I decided that why don't I launch my own planner? So I decided to actually launch a stationery product first. And I got a couple thousand copies printed by the end, the end of 2017 is when I launched. So for 2018, I launched a planner. I got a couple thousand copies printed, and I thought it would last me like a couple of months. I would sell it off, whatever. I would just make a video on YouTube and let's see how many orders I get. I launched it and we were sold out in under 2 hours. And I was like, that was my first taste of how powerful the community was that I had built, right? By that time, up until that time, I was just a content creator. I was just making like these, what I eat in a day and where I go and what I do kind of videos. And suddenly I was like, oh, wow. I mean, this community is extremely powerful. So then we had to place orders for like a couple more thousand copies. That got sold out in a day. And I was like, okay, this. And that by the time I had not set up systems in the sense that I didn't have a packing team. I didn't have anything. So my husband and I were literally sitting for 4 days and just like packing each copy, checking it, shipping it out, manually tracking every order, all of that. So I think that was my first taste of what it was like to launch something. But then I think I was always a teacher. I mean, I've been teaching since I was in 3rd grade. If I was in 3rd grade, I was teaching like 1st grade kids in my building. So I was always doing that. So teaching has always been an area of interest for me. The EdTech venture actually happened by chance. So this was 2020 pandemic. I started getting a lot of DMs from my community members again saying that, hey, Saloni, I just lost my job, or I got a pay cut, or my company's firing people like left, right, and center. I don't know where the world is heading. Can you figured out this whole social media thing? Can you teach me? I could do this as well. So I thought, yeah, I mean, I've spent the last 4 years figuring all of this out. What if I package whatever I know into an EdTech product and launch it? And I launched it, and it was the most powerful thing ever. It was the most money I had ever seen in my life when I launched it. I mean, that night I was like, can't believe I have this much money in my bank account. I was freaked out. So that was again a big taste of, the power of the community that I built. So yeah, EdTech started from there. But right now, I mean, it has been 2 years since that launch, and there hasn't been a day that we've not seen, like, sometimes hundreds, sometimes multiple hundreds of people join us every day in the community. Okay. So it's been amazing.
The funny thing about having a community, they will tell you what the market wants.
I think that was my gold mine. Like my planner, I didn't have plans of launching it. It was always somebody coming and telling me, hey, Saloni, could you create maybe a free planner for like a free PDF that you could send it to all of us and we could use it? I was like, I could actually make a physical product and like ship it out to all of you. I mean, that's okay. So it was their idea. Again, the EdTech, it was their idea. They came and told me their problems and I was like, I mean,
Yeah, so it's like market telling you what they want, and
Exactly.
you know exactly what to deliver.
Exactly.
So your life becomes easier because you don't have to look for product market fit.
Exactly. I mean, PMAT was established day one. I mean, it was established day -5 before I even started building the product.
But now tell me something about, okay, you're talking about side hustles, right? I mean, so this is a very interesting topic. Side hustle has become a trend post-pandemic. I mean,
Right.
people started losing jobs, they started getting a pay cut, and side hustle, people tend to talk about e-commerce, creating an e-commerce website,
Right.
creating something, but they don't realize anything can be a side hustle.
Right.
Anything
Literally
and everything,
anything
yeah.
under the sun can be a side hustle.
And the number one medium for it is the internet. That's it. You have an internet connection, you can start a side hustle.
Absolutely.
So what's your whole take on side hustle as a whole, and why do you advocate the importance of side hustles in today's world?
Right. So again, so I've always been this person who I loved my job. I've always maintained that my 9 to 5.
What were you doing, by the
I
way?
was heading the marketing department for an EdTech company. So I was
Oh,
always
okay.
in EdTech.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
this is my space. So I was taking care of marketing there, and I loved my job. Like, my boss was great, my company was great. I cared about the product. I was getting paid well. I had work-life balance. Everything was there. So it was never my reason to start a side hustle was never an escape. If I wasn't trying to escape anything, I was just trying to explore. Like I told you, I was a multi-passionate person, and I understand that in today's day and age, with so much information around, I think most people are multi-passionate. You figure out, oh, I could do this as well, and I could do that as well. So I was because I was taking care of marketing. Influencer marketing was a thing back then. So it was just starting to catch fire. So I thought, I mean, there are these influencers that I'm reaching out to as a part of the marketing department. What if I could just be those people? So that was the idea that came to me, and I started my YouTube channel. And for 8 months, I was actually running my channel along with my full-time job. So it's actually possible to still put out 2 videos a week with having a full-time job, as long as your job isn't extremely taxing. For me, it wasn't that taxing, so I was still able to manage that. But I mean, the reason why I truly believe in the power of side hustles is because you get to explore different sides of your personality, right? If you're a let's say a coder during the day, that's not your whole personality for most people, right? There are still so many other things that you may be passionate about. I mean, maybe you like going out and eating at really nice restaurants. Maybe you care about making cocktails. Maybe you care about traveling. Maybe you're really passionate about how to choose the right shirt or whatever. I mean, there are so many things that people are passionate about. It's a really nice way to explore a different side of your personality beyond what you do for work. A. B. It's an opportunity for you to make some extra income on the side. That income may be something as low as 4,000 or 5,000 rupees a month also, but it adds up. It always adds up, and it grows from there. And it's never the income that's the motivation. It's the joy that you get out of that journey. And C. I mean, I truly believe that in the environment that we're in right now, especially 2020 created this whole layoff, and then things got back on track, and now we're probably heading towards a recession again, most likely. So it's scary, it's scary to rely on just one income. What if things fall flat? Where do you go from there? So a side hustle is also like a safety net that you create for yourself, that even if you lose out on something tomorrow, you'll have something to fall back upon. So with all of this, I see absolutely no downside to it, except that you may have to compromise a little bit on your social life in the early days. But if you're good at time management, and if you're able to sort of balance things out really well, I mean, a side hustle it literally has only up and up to give you. So I advocate for it all the time.
I mean, I'm glad that you brought up this topic, because millennials today, the youngest millennial is 26 years old. Okay, so that makes us all very old. Yeah, we are all old. Anyway, so 26 and above, I've noticed one major trend. You're either hustling way too much, or you're not doing anything
too
at all.
relaxing. Yeah.
And there is nothing balanced. Okay, so you're probably doing 2 side hustles, making a lot of money, and you're just focusing only on that. You've forgotten your health, you've forgotten your family, you've forgotten your social life, and you're at the way extreme where you're not doing anything.
Right.
You're just happy with your cushion job, and then you're not even one of those high skilled guys who will not be laid off so easily. But considering what we learned with all the FANG companies letting go of people, even high skilled, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they are just chilling. I mean, they're just relaxed. They don't care about anything. They don't know the A to Z of investing, nothing. So you're seeing extreme toxicity on both ends.
Right.
And nobody's advocating a very balanced life. And when these guys go online, you tend to see one creator telling you, put all your money in an FD. Don't put it at all in an FD. Or one guy telling, put everything in a mutual fund without even understanding that you first need to make money in order to invest.
Right.
And there's so much of information out there and nothing which is substantial, right? You need to pick up the right things. And there's so much noise. And one thing our education system brilliantly taught us is read books, Rattamar. Right now, we are Rattamar all the crap that people are telling us.
Exactly. I mean, that has
So,
to be that.
in this era, right, in this time, what would be the two things that you would tell people who want to start a side hustle? Because when somebody tells me that I want to start a YouTube channel, I'm passionate about WWE, it's a very generic thing.
Yeah.
I said, go ahead, do it. He said, but I don't have time. I said, you have a webcam? He said, yeah, I have a webcam. Then switch it on, talk about it, put it out there. Simple.
Right.
But no, they don't have time. And they also have that fear. Okay, I mean, I don't look the right personality because, and thanks to Instagram again, it made us all look like, okay, you need to look like this
to be a certain way. Yeah, exactly.
How do you break that threshold? How do you break that barrier and just go for it and start doing something different?
That's such a good question, because I think that's literally the biggest that's the most common question that I get asked in my DMs every day. Saloni, I want to do something. I'm just not able to figure out what that something is. I mean, I could start a YouTube channel, but I don't feel confident about coming on camera. Or I could do this, but I don't feel confident about that. I mean, I get that, right? I mean, for me, so a couple of different things here. The way I unpack this is, one is starting a side hustle today. The biggest complaint people have is I don't have the time. And to that, my answer is, people really, really underestimate what 30 minutes of dedicated effort, just 30 minutes if you show up every day for something, the potential for that is immense. I mean, when I started my YouTube channel, I had a job for which I was traveling. I would start my day at 9. By the time I would get back home, it would be 9 again. So I wouldn't use my weekdays to do anything. I would focus on weekends. I would utilize my weekends to shoot a couple of videos. I would use whatever little bit of evening time to do edit over the weeks and weekdays, and I would make sure that the video was ready or it was out. And if some week I didn't feel like putting in the work, I wouldn't do it. I mean, it was never meant to be something that would just take over all of my life. It was just supposed to be like a small creative outlet for me to do something that I was really passionate about. I mean, if that's the approach that people keep in mind, and just realize that 30 minutes of dedicated effort could like literally change your life, or could bring something into your life that you will be so passionate about, and you'll be so excited to talk to it about with like every single person out there. That perspective is what most people don't get. I mean, they think that for me to start a YouTube channel, I would need to dedicate like many hours a day, or I would need to do like a lot of things to make that happen. But I'm also of the opinion that if you're too proud of the first video that you've put out on YouTube, you're already too late. I mean, you should just put it out. My first video, it was so bad that 2 years back when I saw it, I had to private it. I was like, I can't believe I put that out on the internet. It was very badly created, and it was shaky, the worst audio ever. It had all of the flaws, but that video is what got me to where I am right now. So be okay with imperfection. Do not underestimate the power of just 30 minutes of effort put into the right direction every single day. As long as you consistently show up 30 minutes for everything, I mean, time is not an excuse. It's really not. And about balance, I mean, balance is something that most people will have to like sort of bring in their life, because you cannot build a side hustle compromising on your health. You cannot build a side hustle compromising on your mental health, most importantly, because whatever in my life, whenever I've gotten into that phase of extreme hustling, whatever I've built from that was never built to last. It fell apart within a couple of months. Only the things that I built with the right mindset are the things that I'm still continuing to do. Anything that I built in the spur of the moment, it died down. So remember that your health, your mental fitness, all of that is extremely important for you to have a healthy side hustle. The goal is not to make a lot of money and then have nothing to spend it on, or not have a life to spend all of that money on. So balance, I mean, do whatever you can. I mean, make sure that you're eating right, make sure that you're exercising. I know all of these are like super basic things to say, but that's literally the key to balance. And you have to make the choice to decide that, I'm going to take time out for myself and I'm going to focus on my health, of my mental fitness. That's all.
You talk about side hustles so passionately. What was your first side hustle?
So,
apart from the stationery
right,
stuff?
my first side hustle actually wasn't YouTube. So this was in one of the very early jobs. I was always passionate about EdTech, like I said. One idea that I stumbled upon was that I was always very angry about how kids in our country just choose their profession randomly, right? Based on the marks they get or based on the recommendation of somebody who knows nothing about what happens in the real world. So I was always very irked by that, because everyone was trying to push me into the direction of engineering. And if I'd become an engineer, I would have been the worst engineer ever. So I'm so glad that I still had the sense to take the right decision for myself. But I also understand that most kids don't have that ability or that level of confidence to make that happen for themselves. So I tried to work on that idea. I created this test for people, like a career counseling sort of a test. And I tied up with a couple of career counselors. And I used to reach out to kids in my community and I would tell them that, would you like to get career guidance for 12th graders? I would put them in touch with the right counselors and I would take a commission in between. That was the first side hustle. And I'm so proud of the fact that I did that. This was just out of college. My very first job. I was trying to do that in the evenings and it was a great idea. It's just that I didn't have distribution back then and I didn't know the world of marketing too well to make it really big. But it was a lot of fun. I'm so proud of that.
Oh, so your first side hustle was at tech, and funny how what goes around comes around. Yeah, Absolutely. That's exactly what happened with you. Now let's change it and try to make it a little more deeper about this entire conversation. Right? We've when you talk about EdTech, there's a lot of stuff happening in the EdTech space right now.
Yeah, so many opinions.
There is the first side of it is where you have a global football icon becoming a brand ambassador of a very big Indian brand.
Right.
I don't think I need to mention the brand, but anyway. And at the same time, there are a lot of layoffs happening. And we are talking about almost every EdTech company in India, which is facing a lot of layoffs.
Right.
The once very, very hot industry for all the VCs, all institutional investors is now, it's still there, but at the same time, and there's a massive slowdown, maybe because there's a economic slowdown as well.
Right.
But that being said, EdTech companies are also in the news for all the wrong reasons, because you're promoting hustle-based culture to kids as young as 4 years, 5 years, 6 years old, right? What is your take? I mean, you're also in the EdTech space, of course, but you're teaching more of side hustles. Right. You're not helping people get skills for their 9-to-5 gigs, but you're trying to help them for side hustles, right? There's a difference between what you're doing and what others are doing, clearly.
Right.
But still, you must be affected by a lot of, people who are highly educated. They are making their kids go through that. Right. I mean, education does not give you common sense? I mean,
education. I don't think education really gives you common sense, but also just the larger EdTech scene in general, right? I mean, what happened was that EdTech saw a massive growth during the pandemic era, right? Yeah. Kids were at home. Parents wanted kids to be engaged. They were so, like, I would imagine if I was a parent and I had a kid who was whose social life was completely cut off, I would go out of my way to make sure that my kid got enrolled in every online class possible, just so that he or she was learning and was getting the right opportunities. I mean, 2 years of education slowdown for a kid could be a nightmare for a parent. I can imagine that. So I understand why all of these EdTech companies saw the growth that they saw in the last 2 years. But now that the world thankfully has opened up and kids are going back to school, kids and parents are starting to realize that Zoom fatigue is a thing. They don't want their kids to be in front of the laptops or screens all the time, and they want their kids to go out and have a real social life, like meet people and build social skills that you can only build with meeting people in real life. So I again have seen that slowdown makes a lot of sense, because now that people are trying to move away from technological education products to like traditional educational products. So that makes sense also. But I think where things went slightly south was the influx of all of this investor money that came in those 2 years of pandemic boost that the tech industry saw. I mean, when VCs come into the picture, what happens is they want you to go extremely fast and go to 100x or 1000x or fall flat, because they want an answer, right? They want an exit. They're a business as well. They want an exit and they want an answer. So a lot of these companies, when they got that kind of money into their ecosystem, they had to scale their marketing extremely fast, and they had to do everything out there in order to, show the numbers to the investors, the VCs from whom they had taken all of this money. And now that the numbers are starting to slow down, of course, all of their planning for, I'm assuming, for the next 5 years happened with the idea that the growth would continue and that the money would continue to come in. And once that has stopped, I mean, these companies have no option but to either shut down or lay off people, and they're left with no option. So we like even HustlePost Academy was offered a VC round in that phase when everything was moving. We intentionally decided to not take VC money because for many reasons. One of the reasons was that in all of the conversations we were constantly asked, how do you become valuable enough for you to be bought by the same company that you mentioned previously? So, like, all VCs were always looking for every EdTech company to essentially be acquired by that one company. Okay. So, I wouldn't have that. So.
No, the funny thing is, VC money is burned for marketing. You don't need to do marketing. So,
I work at 90% profit margins. I'm extremely happy building that. I mean, slow growth is as much as like I advocate balance in life, I also advocate balance in business. I would rather have slow growth and healthy profit margins than extremely fast growth and then falling back.
You know what? What angers me, to be honest, about the EdTech space is not the companies. Right. They are doing whatever they have to do. I mean, they have investors, they have investors to answer to, they have stakeholders and everything. Why are educated parents forcing down, 2 lakh, 3 lakh rupee courses for tuitions for math and science for a kid who's in first, second or third standard? Yeah. I understand if you're 11th and 12th, yeah. I mean, India, they say a lot of things have changed because of digital transformation. Yeah. I don't believe that.
On the ground, no.
We used to go to tuitions. Right. Now the tuitions have come online. That's it. There's no much difference. So why are kids being forced to learn how to code at that age?
Right. So again, my understanding here is the psyche. So I grew up in a very small town. It's called Ankleshwar. Most people wouldn't even know it. It's a small town in Gujarat. I understand the psychology of parents who have kids growing up in small towns like these, right? For them, when they see a Bangalore kid and they're like, wow, this kid knows so much because this kid has so much exposure, they have a lot of insecurity around making sure that their kid gets the best. Of course, their city doesn't have opportunities, doesn't have classes for every little thing out there. So I think EdTech companies really started to take advantage of this insecurity that small town parents had. How do I give my kid the best education while living in this city?
Yeah, the problem is not with small town parents alone. Even parents in Bangalore, parents in Bombay, Delhi, who are highly educated, who are in fairly high positions and who are also doing extremely good in business, they are forcing their kids to become coders at the age of 5, 6. Right. I'm like, dude, doesn't work.
Think about it, right? If FOMO is a thing on social media, if we feel FOMO just by looking at a few reels, as a parent, they would feel FOMO as well.
I guess so.
It was just the FOMO of like 5 of their friends also signing up for a coding class. So how do I make sure that my kid also, like, how can I not let my kid go for the same class? He or she would be left behind. And that competitive mentality that we're always raised with, given that we're a billion people. So that competitive mentality is what I think.
Yeah, I think the fundamental difference between Gen Z and millennials, right? Millennials are affected most deeply, most significantly by FOMO, Instagram and everything, because we're the first generation to witness it, experience it. Gen Z knows what to take and what to not take.
Right.
They know exactly what to feel. Yeah.
Technology was like given to us in our adolescence, and suddenly we were like, with all of the hormone changes, we were also given this crazy change in our life, and there was a lot to navigate there.
I mean, like to say, common sense is something you can never learn from social media or anything, right? So now coming back to creator journey, I also notice a lot of people who start a YouTube channel, they put up 3-4 videos. They probably get about 50 to 60 subscribers with who are your friends, family, relatives, and everything. That's how it starts. And a few likes here and there. Then they stop. They say, "Mujhse nahi hoga. I'm not getting any reach. I'm not getting anything." So what is the one thing that you can tell them? Because I'm sure you would have gone through that barrier and you've clearly broken that. So what would be your pearls of wisdom, if I can use that word, to young YouTubers, young creators?
Right. First of all, I so get that. I mean, I 100% understand why somebody would give up after their third or the fourth video, right? Because creating videos on YouTube is a shiny object, right? You see that as this thing. if you speak to somebody who knows about the influencer world but has never created any piece of content, thinks of this as the most low effort job in the world. Thinking all you're doing is just making videos. Why are you complaining about your life why are you complaining about having too much work in life? Is a very common statement you would hear from people who understand this, who know about the space but don't understand much about, the day to day of creating content. So a lot of people come into the YouTube space thinking that, it's not work. I mean, it's just making videos. How hard could it be? They come in and then reality hits them hard, right? Like creating one video. I mean, you essentially, if you make one video all by yourself, you're essentially like a 10 people team. You are the director, you are the writer, you are the actor, you are the producer, you are everything. You're the editor. You do all of that. So it's not easy. I mean, it's not for the faint-hearted. For a special one, to even put in all of the effort and create one video and put it out. B, put something out in the public sphere, right? And then make yourself open to like all kinds of judgment that could come your way. That's not easy either. And then just in general, realizing that growth on YouTube is not. I mean, real creators today have it very easy. The reach that they get and all of that it's awesome. I'm so glad that Instagram's giving organic reach to creator. It's always amazing. But back when I started, I mean, getting 10,000 views was a massive thing. It was like, oh my God, you have 10,000 views. That's so crazy. We used to call that viral videos. 10,000 views. Yeah.
Now it's just you grind 3 or 4 more zeros.
Exactly. So with that, I mean, I understand why people come in and then they, move on from there when that happens. But the only thing that I would, if you are really passionate about YouTube though, for anybody who's like starting out a YouTube channel and is passionate about doing this, my only tip to you would be prepared to just put in work, and I expect absolutely nothing in return for a year at the very least. Unless you go in with that mindset, you are going to quit after 2-3 videos because it is a lot of work. It is a lot of effort creating content, coming up with ideas, taking in all the noise that comes to you once that video goes out. I mean, fourth or fifth video that I put out, one of my ex-bosses emailed me and told me, why are you behaving like a behenji on YouTube? I thought you had such a flourishing career ahead of you. So you have to really, you have to learn to block out that kind of noise because it will come to you when you start putting anything out on a public platform. So just make sure that you're aware of the fact that all of this is going to happen, and be prepared to put in work for at least a year without anything in return. For a lot of people, it won't take you a year, but just go in with that mindset and you'll be happier.
And when you start a YouTube channel, right? I mean, okay, 1 year, you have to be consistent. Number one thing is you have to be very, very consistent. And you need to have that immense amount of perseverance to block the noise, block everything. Because a life of a creator is not easy. I think people should realize that. I mean, they should just see the BTS work that happens behind every snippet that's created, every podcast that's recorded, every small vlog that's created. Right. It could be the biggest of the biggest creators or even the smallest ones. It's not easy. It's tough. There's a lot of work that has to go in. And it can be a good side hustle, but it is also very important for people to, realize that the side hustle will actually become a fruitful hustle only over a period of time.
Yeah. Maybe at least a year down the line.
Otherwise, you'll just be, you just have to put in the effort. That's it. But now tell me something. This is a flip side of it, right? People are creating content to create communities. Right. Now the agenda has changed. Earlier it used to be, I just want to be cool. I want to look this, blah, 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 right? That used to be the content creator mantra, maybe about 4 or 5 years back. Today, there are businesses who are looking at creating content for creating communities, number one, that would enable them to create a massive distribution engine for their products. Right. And they can use it for testing markets and all that. Do you see this as the main crux of social media for the next 10 years from now?
Honestly, I'm not able to comment on anything for 10 years.
I think, okay, at least 2 years. Let's say 2 years.
Yeah, 1-2 years for sure. I mean, community building is something that it's so immensely, like I told you at the start of my journey, right? Like when I was talking about my journey, everything that I have today is because I intentionally built my community. When I started my YouTube channel, I had, after you reach a certain number, right? Like, for example, you get to 20,000-30,000 followers, you're bombarded with brand collaboration requests. I would let go of like 8, 9 lakh, 10 lakh, 15 lakh of opportunities every month of working with brands because they did not fit in with what I was trying to do. Because the messaging wasn't fitting fitting in with the brand that I'd sort of created for myself. So I let go of like many opportunities because the brands that were reaching out to me were not sort of fitting in with the brand that I was trying to put out on my social media. So creators who are intentional, right? Who are intentional about what opportunities to pick up, what opportunities to let go, more importantly, and what to do with that YouTube channel. I mean, you could create any, like on YouTube, you are paid. The more videos you make, the more you get paid. But do you want to get into the quantity game, or do you still want to, while being consistent, do you still want to make sure that the basic level of quality is maintained so that your audience has that level of trust and, belief in you so that they can stick with you for the long term? So with that in mind, I thought, my community was always my primary focus. And I'm talking 2016, 2017, when community wasn't a word that it was thrown around in the marketing world that easily. But today I'm so glad that people are talking about it because, like I told you, the power of communities is immense. So for the next 2 years, for sure, I mean, even mainstream startups, right? I mean, Unacademy, for example, if you look at that, it's become whatever it has become because they focus so much on providing value through their YouTube channel and build a community around learning that they were able to scale to wherever they are today.
Even Physics Wala started off as a YouTube channel. Look at what he's doing. And you don't need to run ads. You don't need to do anything from a marketing point of view. All you have to do is just show up.
I mean,
and people already trust you.
The only thing is it was easier to run ads. It's a lot more difficult running a content machinery and making sure that, things are going out on a regular basis. That's a lot more difficult. But I mean, a 1 lakh rupee content creation budget every month, like let's say a team of a videographer, an editor, and a couple of softwares, that investment will get you many-fold returns versus burning 1 lakh rupees on ads every month. Because ads, the moment you stop. Everything stops from there. Content compounds on each other, right? Like the content piece that I created 4 years ago is still getting me new subscribers today. So it's absolutely crazy.
And it's like leaving a legacy behind. You're always going to be there. Whether it's on YouTube, you can, if there's something else that comes up in the future, you can always transfer your data there. Absolutely. It's as simple as that. I mean,
it's lovely for me to go back and look at my own journey. It's like a digital journal that I created for myself. And had it not been for YouTube, I wouldn't have captured those moments. I wasn't the one to click photos for everything. I wasn't that person. So I wouldn't have had all of these memories. And I'm so glad that I could go back, have a look at like my own journey of when I was launching my planner and all of the scary videos that I put out that guys have created this product. It's my first time. Please forgive me if there are any mistakes to doing whatever I'm doing today.
Now, you seem to have a very inspiring journey, Saloni. I mean, I've spoken to you, whatever I've heard from you, because you say you're from a small town in Gujarat and you've traveled across India. You've had a good 9-to-5 job. I mean, getting a good 9-to-5 job is also not a small thing in today's scene, right? And then you started your own YouTube journey, content creator journey. Then that led you to listen to your own community. I mean, I've realized this very late in my life that your biggest supporter is a stranger. Absolutely. And your biggest critic will be somebody close to you. But a critic who gives you actual constructive advice will always be a stranger. Absolutely. And your biggest fan also will be a stranger. Absolutely. Right? I mean, if I ask some of my own friends to follow me on whatever social media, they will not. But a stranger will not only follow, he will also pay for it. He or she might even give me valuable advice, right? So you build that whole community for yourself. How has been your journey? Because I think there's so much of inspiration that people can draw from this itself.
I mean, I'm so glad you spoke about this because I feel like a lot of people on Creator Podcast talk about internet hate. I truly want to talk about internet love, right? There's so much love that the world of internet has given me. Everything that I do today exists because there were these few 100,000 people who decided to like believe in whatever I was saying and decided to subscribe and listen to me and believe in whatever I had to say. Sorry. So I do truly believe in the power of internet love. And I'm the person, I was the person who never had a lot of friends. Growing up, I didn't have a lot of friends. Even today, I don't have a lot of friends. All the friends that I have today who I hang out with are people I met on the internet. My students who joined my academy and then grew and massively grew and, reached out to me regularly for advice and inputs and things are now some of my closest friends. I hang out with them. These were the people I spent my birthday with. These are the people they're my closest friends. And the vibe of the people, the reason why I didn't have a lot of friends growing up was because I was never able to connect to a lot of people. who I had access to in my immediate, surrounding. But these people on the internet are exactly my type of people because they related to the content that I was creating, the things that I was saying. So they are like, this was the perfect thing for me to do because yes, it helped me build a business, and yes, it's paying my bills. Whatever I'm doing today, yes, it's paying my bills. Yes, it's it's helped me build a business. It's helped me run my team. All of that. But it's giving me friends for life. I cannot be more glad for that. So I mean, yeah, social media. If you're starting out as a creator, again, a quick tip for anybody who's listening. Yes, you will get hate comments. I mean, that's a part of putting yourself out there on social media. But for every hate comment, I get at least 50 absolutely amazing comments that like a person from my own family would never come and tell me. Like the things they've told me, the things that they told me I've helped them with, it's absolutely crazy. Internet love is.
Yeah, if somebody tells you that, what you've been there during my tough times, and you'll be like wondering, really? How? Yeah, that kind of gets overwhelming, I feel. So, yeah, I mean, look, the reason why I say inspirations come from creators, right? There are a lot of creators. I mean, this is how I've categorized it. So there's one part of creators who are basically targeting young kids and who are in the volume game. They want 1 million, 2 million hits, and they are usually meme-based, meme review channels. It could be multiple of those channels, right? And even stand-up comedy and stuff like that. There are a league of creators there. There's another league of creators who keep talking about motivation. Their job is only to motivate you. Like, wake up at 5 o'clock, do this, do that, ye karo, wo karo, ye karo, ye agar karoge to theek nahi hai, keto is the best diet, you should not eat chicken for the rest of your life, I mean, all that nonsense. That's second type of creators. The third type of creators are the people who are trying to educate an audience, showing a lot of data, making some good snippets and, teaching people like, ye India hai, isme, yeah, population itna hai, and all that. And the fourth are the lifestyle creators, who really don't care about the quantity aspect of it. They just want to put out interesting content. I have noticed that most of the women who are extremely successful are in the fourth category. So you clearly are doing something great, because all the men are just motivating you, saying, ye karo, get up, do this, do that, ye karo, wo karo, ye mat karo, FD mein mat dalo, ye isme dalo. So my point is, as a creator economy, right? I mean, India has it's the DAU hub of the world. You have like 1.3 billion people of us who almost everyone has access to internet.
Exactly.
The point that I'm trying to ask as a creator who's been in this show, right? You're pre-geo and post-geo. Pre-geo, your numbers might not be nice. Yeah, post-geo, you know what has happened. It is kind of gone up, and it's actually going to go up further with 5G coming in and everything. What would be your whole synopsis about the Indian creator economy today? And where do we stand in the world when it comes to quality? Quantity, I think we are up there because of sheer numbers, but I'm talking about quality now.
I mean, so when I look at the Indian creator economy scene, I still think that we're in the very nascent stages. I mean, yes, we have a lot of creators today. That's awesome. I'm so glad. Like, I remember going for YouTube events, like a fan fest, YouTube fan fest, and we would have like about 100 creators show up. That's all. There would be like this one small, like a conference room that would be booked in a 5-star hotel, and there would be 100 creators just hanging out, talking to each other. That's all. Today, YouTube's not able to even have these kind of events because of the sheer number of creators there are, right? So, yes, we've gone up in numbers. Yes, there was some study recently that told that there are about 8 crore creators in India right now. Very few of them are monetizing and are able to make money out of it. But there are 8 crore people who are at least trying to make something happen in the content creation space, which is so inspiring. First of all, it's amazing that all of these people are doing it. So glad for that. But I still think the creator economy is in the very nascent stage, because what people are now starting to see, a lot of people are seeing content creation as, I want to make a YouTube video, or I want to start creating reels, and that's all. But if you look at a more advanced creator economy like a US or a Canada or Australia, where the creator ecosystem has existed for far longer than India, you see that creators have gone beyond just content creation and have literally built brands around themselves. And we're seeing Mr. Beast probably turning into the first one-person unicorn. That's going to be a reality maybe in a couple of months or a year down the line. So that's so inspiring for creators. We see creators becoming real estate agents. And because they have a distribution, I mean, imagine getting the best listings and not even having to put in any effort to get like a buyer for those for that house. So we are seeing that. We are seeing creators start companies. We are seeing creators start food chains. Like Mr. Beast has, the burger chain that he has, and even Mark Williams has this chain all across Thailand. So there are creators are now starting to, they're going beyond just content creation. In India right now, creators are just exploring the space of getting into content creation first. And the first generation of creators that we have, like the likes of, Ranveer Alapatia, or you look at like Komal Pandey, people who are creating content long before Geo was a thing, even a couple of years before me. These are people who now like built many businesses around themselves. It's not just a YouTube channel to them anymore. The moment I see creators across different, subscriber numbers, I mean, a business for a creator is not going to, a creator is not only able to build a business when he or she has about 100,000 or a million followers. A business can be created by creators even with 2,000 followers, even with 1,000 followers. I mean, most of the people in HustlePost Academy, my students, have just about 1,000 odd followers on Instagram or on YouTube and are still able to make like lakhs of income per month. And the only reason why that's happening is there's a clear goal, and they're not running after just views and numbers and ad revenue. They're trying to build businesses around themselves. Like they're offering services, they're offering products, and they're building businesses around that. So I see that creator economy in the next couple of years will grow to a point where creators will not just look at ad revenue as their only source of income or brand collaboration as their only source of income, because I mean, I'm not a big fan of brand collaborations. I say no to them all the time. And I haven't worked with brands in many, many years because it gets intrusive. It really does become a big roadblock to your own creative, like how you would imagine creating a video. If a brand comes in, they have a say as well. And it does get into the way of your creative process. So we'll see that, I'm sure that we will see more and more creators explore options beyond just ad revenue and brand collaboration. So that's where I'm seeing this go.
Now, as a creator yourself, you've been around India, right? You've traveled around India. India is like a land of diversity. It's so massively different to what it is. I mean, what happens in Gurgaon might not really happen in Bangalore. The culture in Bombay and Bangalore are completely different. As a guy, I've grown up in Bangalore, and I've traditionally been a Bangalore guy. So whenever I've traveled to Delhi or Bombay, I've seen so much of difference in the way people work. Right. There's a lot more hustle culture in Bombay than in Bangalore. Right. Delhi is it's kind of extreme. Right. You have like an extremely hustle based culture happening on one side, and one side it's very relaxed, very chill, party culture and everything. Right. Bangalore is more of I don't know. It's kind of laid back sometimes. And sometimes it's
the whole entrepreneur world.
And people. I mean, I would be judged if I go to Bombay, sit in a cafe and work. Yeah. But I will not be judged for doing that in Bangalore. Yeah, you just go to a cafe, open your laptop, people will think you're working, and they will not judge you.
That's how things are.
Exactly. But in Bombay, I will be looked at, ye kya kar hai, laptop pe pakad ke kya kar hai? I mean, right? That's the way people are. So, since you've traveled and lived and worked, what's your take on different metropolitan cities of India?
So, I've obviously seen very different cultures in all of the cities. That's given. But for me, I see Bangalore as this. Bangalore has a lot of techies, right? And it has traditionally been the entrepreneurship hub of India, and it still is, and it's only getting more and more prominent as the years progress. So Bangalore is a place where there's always fresh ideas. I mean, you go and sit in a cafe, you will run into two entrepreneurs, and you will have like this amazing conversation about a side of business that you probably would have never thought about in your life, and you come back with some interesting takeaways. So that's great. I mean, in Mumbai, what I love is like you see a lot of tech-based ideas being discussed here. In Mumbai, you see a lot of creative ideas. I mean, thanks to the proximity they have to Bollywood and access to just the traditional media industry, you see a lot of conversations around that happen there. And I personally, whenever I was in Mumbai, I still love having conversations about, how radio stations work, or how like movies are made, or how the OTT platforms are taking up, and how the movie industry is sort of trying to adapt to the growing demand for OTT. So those are lovely conversations to have. And Delhi for me is I actually worked in Gurgaon, and Gurgaon, you wouldn't believe, because I'm assuming you haven't worked there, but Gurgaon is almost the same as Bangalore in terms of the entrepreneurial vibe. Like if you go to a cafe, you will still find people working there. You sit in a cab, like Uber pool used to be a thing. Every time I would go back from my office to my home, back when I was still in Gurgaon, I would be in Uber pool. I would meet somebody who's building some startup, and we would have a conversation in the Uber pool itself. So Gurgaon is very similar to Bangalore in that sense. It's just that the ideas are not extremely, they're not only tech focused. There are other areas that they explore as well. Like whereas in Bangalore, it's extremely scale driven. Like they try to build products at scale using technology. So it's just the type of ideas that are discussed there that change a little bit. The vibe is still the same, in the trends of content creation, entrepreneurship, wanting to do something and exploring more ideas, that has caught on. Like all cities have caught on to it. It's just the type of ideas that they're dabbling with right now really depend on what they have close proximity to around them. So Bangalore's tech, Mumbai is a lot of like, entertainment, and then Delhi has a balance of a lot.
Considering the kind of movies that Bangalore has produced this year, I think we are also high in the creative curve now. So
in general, like all of the states are just, it's amazing what's happening with respect to just movies in general, because and Bollywood has a lot of catching up to do now.
Yeah. Clearly, I mean, I think this is another very interesting. I mean, we are going to wrap up the podcast in about 10 minutes, right? I want to understand something from one millennial to another millennial. I'm a 91 born person, and you made a video suggesting that you're a 92 kid.
Yeah.
So that's how I know that you're also like 1 year apart.
Right.
How has life changed for us, right? I mean, life has changed. Too much, but what do you see next? I mean, are you scared? I mean, the part of me is extremely scared about what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
Part of me is extremely excited.
Yeah.
And part of me is thinking, chalega.
Yeah. So, I honestly, yes, our life has been a little bit more challenging because we were given technology at a later age in life, so we didn't grow up with it. So there was a lot of culture shock adjustment that we had to do. I remember being on Orkut and doing all of that first, and then slowly moving.
Sending testimonials.
Yeah, exactly. Driving people with chocolates to get a testimonial. Yeah. So all of that was done, but I also see us as extremely fortunate. The fact that we've seen all of these transitions in life really makes me very happy that when we move from Web 2 to Web 3 and when the world heads there, I mean, it won't be a big deal for us anyway, because I feel like we've seen too many changes in our life. Like we're all set. I mean, throw anything at me and I think I'll adjust. We'll adjust to it.
I think Web 3 is being built by us.
It's built by us.
It's being built by the millennials, and Gen Z will adapt to it.
Right. So I'm very glad that, we were given all of these challenges, because we've sort of learned to adapt to change very, very easily. So that makes me so happy. I'm not obviously happy about how our generation's not able to afford housing anymore. all of that's obviously very pissing off. But what also I'm very scared about, like you highlighted that there's also things to be scared about. What I'm scared about is, if I think about maybe if I have a child, and what world is that child going to grow up in? That worries me the most right now, because it's scary. I mean, when I look at the kids, like the Gen Z right now, I see that they're dealing with many, they're very vocal. I love, one thing that I love about Gen Z is that I think millennials we used to suck it up. I was like, yeah, it's a problem. I mean, we're going to deal with it. I love that Gen Z speak out. They say things as they are. They're like, I do not like this happening in my workplace. I do not like this happening in my life. They speak up with their parents, with their employers, with everybody. And I love that. But the fact that they are voicing out their problems is really making me realize that, oh, wow, there were things that we had taken for granted, which I'm glad that they are speaking about. But if they're so worried about all of this, where is the next generation going to come, and what is going to be the point of worry for them? And what is that world going to look like? Is there going to be a world with the rising pollution, with everything? I have no idea. That worries me. I mean,
as millennials, we are told by the baby boomer generation that it's time for you to have kids, and then we look at the future, we be like, it's scary. Yeah, because I think climate change is a big thing. Yeah. It's a real thing. I mean, I have seen it in Bangalore every year. The two things that go up every year are the fuel prices and the temperature in Bangalore in summer. Right, that's one thing which has been a constant.
6 years. I mean, I wouldn't imagine what you've seen, given that you've been here since 91.
True. That's one part of it, and then second. Scary thing is just the geopolitical world that we are living in right now. What's happening? What can happen? Because the pandemic made me realize that 2 years is equal to 10 years.
Yeah.
2 years now, say for example till 2024, is actually equal to decade because things can happen very fast. The crypto market went up and went down, and we have seen it. And being in that space, so I mean, I'm actually in that space as an entrepreneur myself. I know what kind of pressures I had to go through for that. So a lot of things are changing for the worse, but there are some things that we can be grateful for, especially from the content creating journey, or just the fact that we have internet, we have access to so much of information,
and we have access to opportunities. I mean, if today, if somebody decides that, I do not enjoy going to an office, like a traditional office and working, they have options. I mean, it's great. Our parents didn't have that. If they had to make money, they had to go to an office, no matter how good, how bad, whatever. That was their only option. I'm so glad that today, I grew up in an extremely middle class family in a very small town. So my whole worldview was joining a company and getting a job and rising the corporate ladder. That's all. I cannot even fathom the fact that I get to do all of this and, call this, and this is work for me. It's crazy. And when I tell this to my parents, initially when I told my parents that, I'm starting a YouTube channel, they didn't get it. It's like, what is the point of doing all of that? But they're so excited now. My mom has her own YouTube channel as well.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm so glad that the opportunities in terms of career and the possibility of sort of monetizing anything has opened up, and that makes
yeah. That's crazy.
My mother and my husband, they both have YouTube channels.
Wow,
so, yeah.
Okay. See, wow. The fact that you started teaching people how to do side hustles, and your mom and your husband both, they happen to be doing the same thing, is something great, right? So
happy.
Yeah, so that's itself is a great deal, if you ask me. I'll tell you something. I think one episode is not going to be enough with you, because I would love to talk more in detail about side hustles, the topics such as drop shipping, content creation, this and that. We will obviously meet again and discuss that also. But for now, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Saloni. And to all of you out there who want to basically learn more about side hustles, just follow her on YouTube, follow her on Instagram first. Then you will know where to go. I think her link navigating is pretty good, so go for it and follow her. Follow the Indian Millennials for more content, because we are obviously getting a lot more amazing people here to have conversations that will really impact the way we live our lives. As simple as that. I'm not here to, give gyan. I'm not here to do anything that is already being done. I'm here to bring raw, truthful, really authentic conversations about life as we know it. As simple as that. So thank you, Saloni, for making time and coming here. And I definitely want to do one more episode with you. So I look forward to that.
Thank you so much for having me. It was lovely talking to you.
Awesome. All right.